Pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this November meeting of the Board of Finance to order. We have a quorum, and at this time, we will address any public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? There being no public comment, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval and acceptance of the minutes from the October 8th meeting. Is there a motion? Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of approval of the minutes of the October 8th meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, to consider and act on a fiscal year 26 out-of-series transfer from the Director of Fire Services, Chris Haley, in the amount of $73,467 as indicated in the transfer request form. Is there a motion?
I move that we decrease account 5110, got enough ones in there, I hope, administration by $20,077, 51412. Okay, we'll try again. Let's start. Okay. We decrease, this is all original code 10123, object code 51110, administration by $20,077, 51412, part-time firefighting by $35,600, 52320, rental of hydrants by $12,500, and 52372, insurance by $5,920, and increase line 51410, firefighting by $73,467.
Is the insurance amount correct? It's $5,290.
$5,290, you're right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the transfer. Is there discussion? Chris, could I just have a couple of questions. And actually, I'll start with the questions and then I'll let you kind of take over here. So the availability of the funds in the administration and the part-time firefighting, you're never going to use all the part-time firefighting, correct?
This, in concert with the additional appropriation, would allow us to take a station that's currently under only part-time staffing status and replace those hours with full-time hours. So this displaces a number of those hours by replacing hours for hours. So they'd be full-time employees working in a station that, up to this point, is still part-time employees.
So if I talk to this one in concert with item 5 on the agenda, is this 3 positions or 2?
One position, 3 people. The same as anything in the fire service. Now that you have a 24-hour around-the-clock fire department, for every person that you have working, you have 2 that aren't working. We operate under what's called a 3-platoon schedule. So we have group 1, 2, and 3. Some departments operate under a 4-platoon schedule. So for every person they have working, there's 3 off. We have 1 working and 2 off. So for every time you increase the shift strength by a position, it requires 3 employees.
Okay, so again, item 4 and 5 combined are going to fund 3 employees to the end of this fiscal year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get to. So now I fully understand. So this transfer plus the additional appropriation will take care of that. The other question I had relative to this one, it would apply to the, well, I guess I can ask it now.
Sure.
Between these two line items, there's no FICA increase. If you're increasing a salary or increasing the amount on the firefighting salary line, isn't there a FICA increase?
Well,
Go ahead.
go ahead. If you notice, a portion of that is also decreasing the administrative salaries. So at this point, FICA is pretty hard to estimate because we're replacing what would be the director's salary and administration with part-time salary hour or full-time probationary firefighter. Much different rate of pay there. A number of the part-time firefighters make well beyond what an entry-level full-timer makes per hour. So it's still a very moving target right now, but you'd probably expect a Q3 transfer internally if we had to cover any FICA.
That was going to be my question. Is that just another way of saying there's an internal transfer, likely an internal transfer in our future?
Yeah, if needed.
That we
yeah.
won't see.
Yep.
Okay.
But like I said,
Okay.
if that since we're still on just the transfer form, if you notice, we're transferring administration salary out, but we're not decreasing FICA along with that because we're transferring it to just a different pay grade.
Gotcha.
So a number of people
Okay.
are at different pay grades.
Yep. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yep.
And by Q3, we'll know their official start dates, so we'll know what we'll need.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had. Anybody have anything else? Okay, then for item 4, there's a motion and a second on the floor to transfer $73,467 from the indicated accounts to firefighting. Please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, to consider and act on a request from the Director of Fire Services, Chris Haley, for an additional appropriation of $88,640 to cover the cost of hiring 2 full-time firefighters EMTs for the following designated lines and forward to the RTM if required.
I move that we recommend an appropriation. I move that we recommend an appropriation from the unassigned fund balance of the general fund of $88,640 to be transferred as such follows: to line item 10123-51410, $73,293, to line 10123-53111, $8,554, to line item 10123-52370, $4,463, and to line item 10123-52310, $2,300, and forward to the RTM as required.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion? Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah. Director, I am going to take a point of personal privilege and ask the questions I didn't get to ask you at the last meeting. In a way, it relates because it's the equipment that you were getting. And my question was, these equipment looks like they're only for 3 firehouses: Cohansey, Jordan, and Oswegatchie. And I assume that was correct for the last meeting when we transferred the money for this
Oh, for the CNR?
self-contained breathing operation.
No,
upgrade?
the bulk of that CNR request is to replace the confined space rescue breathing apparatus there's only one set townwide.
Okay. All right, and then the battery-free boxes, are they equivalent of what I would call a sound-powered phone?
Which item is that?
It was it was part of that whole transfer.
This was from last
Yep,
week.
It was from last meeting.
Last month.
And you talked about battery-free communication equipment, and the only battery-free communication equipment I know of is what we used on ships, which is a sound-powered phone type thing, where basically the lines are connected together and the sound of your voice energize the line.
the communications units that are in there is, it's a hardline communication system
Yep.
for, so in the firefighting realm, you have a portable air pack, right? And then in
Yep.
the confined space realm, you have a tethered airline out to the building. It's a fixed airline. So what this allows you to do is have a hardline communication for example, some of our utility pump stations are 60, 70, 80
Yeah,
feet
yeah, I
underground.
understand why you need
Yeah.
it. I was just wanting to make sure that was, if my conception of what it was correct.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's a direct connection.
Direct connection line, and it's basically it's
bypasses
powered by
radio.
the sound of your voice, yeah. Now, about this particular item, you're basically putting folks into Oswegatchie on a full-time basis, and then you're going to improve the coverage at Quaker Hill by assigning the part-timers to Quaker Hill. And are some of that going to go to Goshen as well, or are they just, it's just all going to go to Quaker Hill?
No, we already have part-time shifts also assigned to Goshen. This would be to increase the coverage at Quaker Hill.
Okay. That's all I have, thank you.
Anything else? Anyone else? Mike?
I just had a question. The part-time firefighters, I mean, how many do we have? It just seems like we have a lot of the budget left over. Do we have trouble getting them, keeping them?
We're down to 7 part-timers, 5 that work regularly throughout the week, some that are weekend availability. One of the full-time hires that we made in that first transfer was a former part-timer who we brought up to full-time.
Is this something we're still looking to do, or do we? I mean, I know they said there was volunteers are having trouble, and I'm assuming with part-timers, but is there another reason why we can't find them, or?
It's to me there should always be room for that aspect of the department. I think one of the challenges with it right now is the consistency of being able to cover the town with it. You know, I would never want the town of Waterford to be someone's second priority. You know, their side gig, where if their primary gig, you know, calls up, they would rather dump on Waterford and go to their primary job. I would never, you know. So it's the consistency of being able to provide that consistent service and things like that. But I think that as a number of much smaller communities around us are starting to see the same volunteer problems that hit Waterford probably over the last 10 years, are starting to hit much smaller and slower towns, they're creating part-time firefighting positions, which Waterford has had for decades. So I think that that's also thinning the available pool as more and more surrounding towns. You know, I'm on the Connecticut listserv, which emails every fire department in the state, and I saw 9, I think yesterday in one email, 9 towns looking to hire either part-time or full-time firefighters, and I think 7 of them were in this county. So I think it's just, as everyone's volunteer departments are declining, I think more and more people are relying on part-time, even towns that are running a tenth of the call volume of our town. So I think that's.
How does our pay for part-timers compare to the other towns if we are competing with them?
The starting part-time rate is higher than some, and for the established guys, they're on the seasonal wage schedule, so they continually get pay increases. So in some cases significantly higher, but in line with our full-time starting salary, a little bit lower than our starting full-time salary, but they're on the wage schedule and continue to get cost of living increases the same as any other part-time town worker.
All right, and then, I don't know how to broach this or ask it, but do you see tension or issues or problems or pushback from a union when one of their members wants to go work part-time at another town?
Someone in a union working part-time in our town, you're saying?
Yeah, would get a call from their union, say, don't do that.
I know that historically it was being that I was involved in the state union at the time, I think probably 6 or 7 years ago that specific thing came up. As far as recently hearing about it, I'm not even sure. I think as more and more towns are going to part-time staffing at a minimum at least, if not full-time, I think a lot of that, I guess, animosity is probably cooling off because
Yeah.
people all realize that it's all eventually headed that way.
I would hope, because, and I don't know, I was not a firefighter, but a lot of firefighters have second jobs or part-time jobs or do side gigs, carpenters, painter, whatever, right?
Yep.
To me, why not do it in your profession and whatever? I just always cringed when I heard that, you know? And I'm not against unions, but I think sometimes unions in the public sector get in the way of providing services at cost effectively to the people. So I would hope we would try to discourage that if it is still going on. Thanks.
All right. Josh, we're on item 5. I don't know if you had any questions prepared.
Give me just a second.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for maybe being a little slow on the uptake here. So this item, there's 3 firefighters involved here. Is one already on board, and we're funding that particular person till the end of the fiscal year, and then there's 2 additional that you're hiring?
One was a current part-time
Gotcha.
firefighters. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, so he's on board. He's just going full-time, part-time to full-time.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And the other question I had, can these people hit the ground running? Is there training that they're going to need?
We, all of our new hires, even if we're currently still seeking out certified hires.
Okay.
We're currently still seeking that out. But even those still have a routine onboarding. How does Waterford do it? Learning their way around town, learning the equipment, learning their coworkers, things like that. We have an internal onboarding. But as of right now, we're still targeting certified employees,
Okay.
certified firefighters from here or other towns. How long that pool is going to last? I mean, ideally, I'd eventually like to get it to the point where we're utilizing the Connecticut Academy and we can get uniform trained, universally certified people in the gate all the exact same way, the exact same crop. But right now, we're still able to harvest from a certified group that's around. We're seeing applicants from surrounding communities and other towns. So.
All right, thank you. Okay. Item 5, any further questions, comments? Hearing none, then we'll move to a vote. All in favor of an additional appropriation from the unassigned fund, unassigned balance of the general fund in the amount of $88,640. Please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6, review and possible action on a superintendent of schools letter listed in correspondence requesting a revised FY27 Board of Education budget submittal date. Is there a motion?
I move that we permit the Board of Ed to delay the submission of our budget till March 2nd, 2026.
I'll second that, Glenn.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that item? It's been pro forma the past few years, so I don't think there's anything exciting here. All right, all in favor of taking action and allowing the delay to the Board of Education budget submittal, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, to consider and act on a request for approval of the general fund 2026-2027 proposed budget for the Board of Finance.
I move approval of the general fund proposed budget for the Board of Finance in the amount of $86,406 and indicated by the series subtotals above.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the proposed Board of Finance budget? Very good. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of the proposed Board of Finance budget in the amount of $86,406, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, to consider and act on a request for approval of the General Fund 2026-2027 proposed budget for debt service.
I move approval of the budget for debt service of $8,068,172.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I think we have sufficient background here to understand this request, so there being no discussion, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of approving the General Fund 2026-2027 proposed budget for debt service in the amount of $8,068,172, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, to consider and act on a request for the approval of the General Fund 2026-2027 proposed budget for contingency in the amount of $271,625. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the contingency budget of $271,625.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Josh?
So on this is the same conversation that I had brought up last year when we were taking a look at this budget item, but we continue to see requests for new appropriations without much change in the contingency line. I wonder if there should be a conversation about increasing the contingency capacity and trying to downplay or dismiss the number of items that we have that require additional appropriations. It's more of a hypothetical.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I used the October 25 COLA for the increase, but whatever this board recommends I do.
Oh, and it absolutely makes sense year over year, and I'm glad that we're indexing it at the very least going forward, so that we're not just seeing the flat 250,000, 250,000. At the very least, we need to see it grow with the inflation rate. But I simply ask the board, as you go forward, to continue to consider what should qualify for additional appropriations, how often should we be making those, and what role does the contingency play as we, consider some of those items. I don't think that's something we can decide here tonight, but please bear it in mind. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, any further discussion? Rob, yeah.
Obviously, to Josh's point and this board's point last year, we do have 3 contracts coming up, and I believe what Josh may be referring to is, obviously our legal budget will increase this year, for HR, just because we have 3 contracts to negotiate. So you'll see that this year. I think this is another place where when the wages come through, if there are increases, you'll see it in a contingency payout later as well. I also think with contingency, there is retirements that come up that we just don't know of. And we've been pretty good. You guys have been great. It never used to be the case where Waterford would pay out in their budgets. I think you guys can remember this. They would just use their operating budget to pay out a retirement. With this board, I give you a lot of credit. You guys changed that and said, no, that's contingency because you're budgeting and you're punishing good budgeters. So I believe that there is some validity to what Josh is saying, what you guys have said before, and 271's fine, but maybe later, you guys just know that we do have some contingent, probably large things coming down the road that you may have to entertain, but at least we're having the conversation now. And I'll try to keep you abreast on whatever does come up, okay? So.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. I am. I Roger both what Josh said and what the first selectman just said. I'm I'm prepared to vote for the amount here, but I do like the idea that it has finally been indexed to something. And if we can maybe make some intelligent forecasts going forward relative to contracts and those kind of things, you know, if we have, I think we have data that can back up a maybe a more systematic approach to contingency. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. So is there any other comment? Yeah, Bill?
Yeah, well, on the same subject, with the number of contracts that we have coming up, I can see that we might be transferring a heck of a lot from contingency. And, of course, we don't know what retirements are, because unfortunately, unlike the Board of Ed, that by state statute, the teacher is required to tell the Board of Ed if they're going to retire in the next fiscal year before the budget is set up. We don't have that luxury on the town side. Maybe we need to seriously consider some sort of inflation rate and doing a guesstimate, or as we used to say, a swag, scientific wild ass guess, to whether contingency should be increased. Now is the time to do that, as opposed to in the middle of the year. Basically, then we have to take it from the unassigned fund balance as opposed to contingency. And this last year, you know, we ran out of contingency before we were done, and we still had stuff that we ended up having to go to the unassigned fund balance for. So I'm not sure that the 7,113 is really sufficient, and maybe we should consider looking at a contingency of 280,000 as opposed to the 271,625, just because of the number of contracts that are coming up. And again, we don't know what the retirement horizon is going to look like either, except that we know people go until they're going to retire in the town of Waterford because we treat them properly. So I'm going to move that we increase that to $280,000.
All right. Yeah, there's a motion. So you're going to amend your motion? Yeah.
I'll amend the motion
Okay.
and make it easier. If
Okay.
the
And then
seconder
the seconder was Becky. Who did you have for second on that? Joe. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have an amended or a revised motion on the floor for a proposed contingency budget of $280,000. Is there any discussion on the amended motion? Yes.
Yep, I just wanted to point out, I know that we have 3 union contracts to settle, but you also were going to be having coming, any of the non-union wages that will be coming also will be increased. And if you are not aware, minimum wage went up again, which affects all of our non-union wage scales, so we don't have someone starting fresh, coming in, making what someone who's been here 4 years makes. So there's a trickle-down effect. It's not just the 3 union contracts that you should be aware of that will be coming before you.
Would you potentially recommend in that case a larger increase than to 280?
Knowing which contracts are up, it might be wise to go to like 285. Knowing how last year we didn't have those contracts and we still ran out of funds at the very end of the year. Because you're looking, other than 2-3 contracts, everything else will be coming before this board after it is settled and approved by the RTM.
I'll amend my motion to 285,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have an amended motion on the floor. Amended motion, and that has been seconded. Is there any discussion on the revised amount? Okay. Hearing no further discussion, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of a proposed contingency budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year in the amount of $285,000, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. And item 10, appointment of a Board of Finance member to serve on the Social Services Grant Committee for a term of 1 year, December 2025 to December 2026. I believe that's currently Bill, right?
Ron.
Ron, okay, okay.
It was myself before then, and if nobody else raises their hand, I'll do it. I think that it's an interesting experience for someone who hasn't done it.
So I wonder if we shouldn't then defer this item to the next meeting?
I move
have-
we postpone this item 10 to the December meeting.
Yep, motion and a second. Any discussion? Very good. All in favor of deferring action on item 10, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Are there any liaison reports? Okay. We have Abbas's report as of the end of October within the correspondence in the packet. Getting kind of used to looking at these so that they almost make sense now. A lot of you got a lot of data in here, Abbas. Does anybody have any questions or any concerns about what Abbas has had on here for the end of October report? And we will engage you, seeing as we're gonna have some new faces on the board to perhaps have you refresh us all on how this gets done. And yeah, and you can do it without the sweatshirt. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Um,
Okay, quick question.
yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Usually I ask them, I'll make it worthwhile for you coming to the meeting so you can do something. I was just curious, how come we seemed like we were going up with the cash positions, and then the past 2 years we went down? This year we're down 10 million?
We used the funds past few years. More recently in the past 12 to 14 months, so the funds are below what it was the fiscal year before. So I have a running total of a quarter over quarter on bottom of that page. So gives you a little bit of better snapshot of where we are end of the quarter. As of September 30th, we were a tad. That's overall, between all the funds, we were below the fiscal year before by just a tad over 10 million. So less chickens, less eggs, unfortunately, as far as the interest goes.
Yeah, but so why? Where?
It was spent by
it
the
was spent?
town.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Not saying it was our fault, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Any other comments on correspondence? I do have some questions I just want to throw out on the quarterly capital project status report. Answers may or may not be available at this meeting, but I saw some things on there that I did want to ask about, and maybe have my memory refreshed or have my perspective corrected. So it's the legal size sheet, back to back, 4 pages at the end. I'll skip that one. Item.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yeah.
May I be dismissed with my hoodie?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Abbas. Thanks.
I apologize
No,
again.
that's.
Thank you.
Yep. What is that? 90% is just showing up. So on page 1, third from the bottom, we have an emergency management line item, APCO and Telecom guide card system. Oh, I'm sorry. I just had that marked as expected completion soon, right? You had fall of 25. I had marked that saying that's imminent, because it's not marked, completed and awaiting, so.
It's in process now that Next Gen is completed. We didn't want to start this project because it integrates with the new Next Gen software for the emergency responders.
Okay. Okay, if you flip over to page 2, I just had a question on the mobile radio replacement. There were funds, there's a statement there that the funds that are left, which is the 21,500, these funds will cover the reprogramming of approximately 40 radios. Does anybody know, was that part of the original scope, or is that kind of a good use we're putting some leftover funds to, or was that always part of the project?
My understanding is that it is, and the only reason we have
Okay.
not programmed is because the state radio upgrade was approved, so current radios are going to be reprogrammed to work on the new system.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that will be completed after the radio
Okay.
project is complete.
All right, very good. So the very next one down, ADA improvements, Police Department, Youth Services Bureau. So the comment is original bid produced costs above approved budget will be rebid. So we've spent $25,700 there. What did that $25,700 go for? Was that engineering or?
That's my understanding, but I would have to verify that.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, we may not have. And there are a couple in here that the very next one, original bid produced costs above approved budget, $4,600 spent.
He's rethinking those entire projects and designs
Okay,
because of the cost that it's coming in at.
okay. The parking lot, Youth Services Bureau, and farther down the page, the 61,700 expended, the 57,000 expended. Does it appear, so if those are rebid, including the prevailing wages, those bids are going to come in higher without a doubt, right?
Which is why he is relooking at the designs that he's paid for, to review the project scope.
Okay. To try to mitigate that
Correct.
cost increase. Okay, that's prudent. The item, you and I had talked about this item, the Cohansey remediation and demolition. So this was a new project last fiscal year. That $40,000 is for engineering, or is that the understanding? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then the public safety complex, air conditioning, same thing. Okay. So that $100,000 is engineering and studies and, wow. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can
Yes.
give you a little clarification on that. Police Department and Youth Services, that paving project, because it came in so high over the past year, we've been talking about making it one project, not both, so that's what he's done. He's actually, and it ties into ADA with the police department, the curbing, the parking. So that's all turning into one project for the most part. I'll just tell you that. And the other section way over near youth and family will be probably a second project because of the costs. So it gives you an idea
Okay.
of where he's heading with these two projects turning into one.
All right. So
Police department
will
being a
those
priority.
be part of the mix this year, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be.
This coming year, I should say.
Yep, it is.
Okay. On to page 3. The SCBA upgrades, we got that answer tonight. down to the Plan of Conservation and Development. And there's chatter from the corner over there. What is why is it taking so long?
Still in draft form. We do have new council with the Planning and Zoning Commission as well, from Halloran and Sage. We have new attorney working with them. And it's in draft form, and it's got to go to the full body for discussion. It should be probably, I don't want to say when, but it's imminent. It's in
So,
draft, final draft, or close to being final draft form.
so there are enough concerns because we have new council that we're gonna go through the thing
Yeah, we're.
all over again?
No, not going over, just looking at the plan that was designed, but there were some things absent, meaning a large company, a billion-dollar company buying one large parcel of land in the middle of our town, at the Crystal Mall. There were just so many little things that were going on over these past 6 months that just
Okay,
created some PDD development talks and other things, so. But it is in draft form, and it's ready to pretty much move forward soon.
so, yeah, so what's the expression, Bob? Overcome by events? Yeah, okay, OBE, okay. And page 4. One, two, three, fifth from the bottom, that's another rebid. The $7,945 on the equipment storage plan for Park and Rec. The exterior of plan is complete, working on the interior portion of the plan for a new capital project request. So we're, I don't know, $8,000 spent, with another $8,000 encumbered. So the comment, it didn't make sense to me. So was the original equipment and storage plan only for exterior? And I don't kind of understand the
No, it
difference.
was for the entire design, but his update is that we had finished the outside design. Now they were reviewing and working on a plan for the inside to submit that, one complete plan.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is, so he's going to work to two different sets of plans. He's going to work this.
They're gonna be one, but for some reason, they worked it as they did the outside first, and now they're working on the interior.
But he
I'm
talks
not an
about, he
engineer.
talks about coming for a new capital and again, he's not here, so but he talks about a new capital project, so we're going to have one set of plan and two projects?
Nope, they're gonna take the interior and exterior, and he will submit a request for one new capital project for the entire building.
All right, so
inside
he's
out.
just going to fund the drawings and that kind of stuff out of this one?
Correct.
Okay, and then, okay. We
And
got-
he had to take the exterior first because of the complications down there with Eugene O'Neill Theater, their traffic patterns and
Yeah,
ours.
we-
So it just they separated into exterior, site plan, and then
All
the
right.
second part of the building itself.
I just think collectively we need to figure out a better way to communicate that when a project is not a project, when a project is the preliminary engineering or design phase for the real project. I think we confuse ourselves. I know I get confused. And that's it. So, that's all I had. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to put forth at this meeting? Very
I could
good.
give you a quick update on my letter to all of you. You guys got a copy of the assessor letter to the Office of Policy Management, Waterford being one of 3 towns. I just want to mention, we did have our meeting today with Martin, the undersecretary. It was a great meeting with him, myself, and Stonington assessors and First Select Woman. And we had a great conversation with him, saying that 3 towns being, separated out and identified as 3 that would have to have a 3-year reval, when the legislature basically said no to doing it. And we were one of 3 that have to do a 3-year reval and then a 4-year reval. So it's just unfair to the Waterford residents. We said that. It was expensive, not to mention the cost that it cost us. Cost us $67,000 last reval, just in terms of adjustments. On top of the veterans exemption, that wasn't clearly written by the legislature, and also the new solar panel, about $400,000 hit to Waterford probably coming with their new legislation. We had to go about this in terms of the town of Waterford to reach out and see what we could do about this. This would have cost an additional $600,000 approximately for the town of Waterford, for taxpayers, all in 3 years. So we just asked him in the letter just to see if he would consider the 4-year, and we would just meet in the middle. It was a very good conversation, and he's going to come up with some draft language for our assessor. So it was a really good meeting, and he worked with us.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that update. Anyone else? Anything else? Yes, Josh, go ahead.
Just before we adjourn, I think I'm the only one present tonight, Ron Fedor being the other one who won't be returning for your next meeting. So I just want to, especially since I came in to this position midterm, I really want to thank you all for being really wonderful compatriots in everything that we've been trying to accomplish here on this board. I felt very welcomed. I felt like we've accomplished a lot, and we've had some great discussions, and I'm very pleased to have been part of this group for a period of time. So thank you.
All right.
One other comment, too. I'd like to
Sure.
recognize Ron's, I guess, distinguished service over many years. I think it's like, was it 12 or 16 years that he served on the Board of Finance? It goes quite a
Maybe
long
more.
time.
I'm not sure.
I was going to look it up, but I forgot, didn't get time to do it as to when he was elected. I know that it was after, I'm pretty sure it was after I was elected. I was elected in 2003. But I forgot to look it up, and I remembered it probably around 4 o'clock this afternoon. I had
was
too
gonna
many
reach
other
out.
things I had to get done before I came here, so I wasn't prepared for it. But basically, I know that I was chairman between 2007 and 2009, and in 2009, Ron became chairman and was chairman until Glenn took over.
So he had a good run. He had a real good run.
So he had a significant run. He was probably the longest served, besides myself, on the board.
I'd like to acknowledge that. Also, to your point, it was great having you on the board. I think you brought a lot of interesting insight, fresh mind, young blood, so wish you well in the future.
Yeah, same here. I reached out to Ron personally separate and thanked him and thanked Josh what he brought to the board in the short time you were here.
Oh, very good. I'll
I want to
jump
thank
in as
Bill
well.
for all the long time that he served on the board. I hope he continues to serve into the future.
You know,
I
this,
concur. I want to thank everyone.
we have the opportunity to say, Ron, if you're watching,
Yeah. Well, that's correct. No, he's
there we go.
Yeah, if
Thank
you're
you very
watching,
much
Ron.
thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.